The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown.
Parsons has sacked it. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's a wonderful Wednesday edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, and the SWBC studios. Welcome in, everybody, as we turn the page officially to week number 12 of the NFL season. The Cowboys taking on Dan Quinn and the Washington Commanders this weekend out in Landover, Maryland. We've got the whole cast and crew ready to rock. Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Isaiah Stanback, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans.
Are you cold?
How we doing today?
What the heck's going on?
No, it's actually so it is
Like a Missy Elliott video? What the heck's going on?
no.
Super duper fly?
That's funny. No, my laundry has been like completely upended because of the babies. Like they get president, as you would assume with triplets at home. So a lot of my sweatshirts, I realize, have been kind of put away and like in the dirty pile for a while, and I just haven't done it yet. And my wife is frustrated with how many times I've gone through sweatshirts recently. So this is what I had to wear today. That went with the pants and the shoe combo.
Broke out the bubbles.
Could have went shirtless, but
And it's a little chilly today too.
Just
There you go.
It's the
Chilly.
second
A little
time
chilly.
in second
It's in
time
the
in, I think,
mid-40s.
3
like
weeks.
45.
Yes.
Oh,
Seattle. Oh, we're
It is chilly. I was at a soccer game last night.
feels
That
good.
wind. It's not the temperature. It's the
It's
wind.
the wind.
It's the wind.
The wind will cut through
See, and
anything.
I live like on this like hill.
Soft.
No, it's not. A
Oh,
hill.
that's what we're doing today.
And there's
coming with a Missy
wind
Elliott jacket and say, "I
over
live
the
on a
top
hill."
of it.
Wow, Kyle. Interesting.
I don't think it
Feels
gets
great
more.
outside.
Yeah, I don't
I've
think
been
it gets
over
more
the heat
Look at
expensive.
that with the sleeve, just
Facts.
sleeveless, huh?
There you go.
Gun
let
show.
Let it get on the skin, man. Just let the brisk of the air get on you, man.
Brisk.
Brisk.
The brisk of
Yeah,
the
let the
air.
Emphasis
brisk
on the
of
K?
the air. It's fall air. Taste the air. It tastes good. It's
Does
good.
it?
Interesting.
Speaking of taste, where the heck is Black Rifle? I need some Black Rifle 300 milligrams.
Right
on
here,
the
baby.
desk
No,
every
not
day.
based on
Black Rifle.
the pre-show.
Black Rifle.
You don't need anything
We
after
need.
you up.
We need it. Everybody in this building needs 300 milligrams every day.
You want a
That's
can?
3 R's.
we got a can.
You got a can?
We got plenty of cans because our boy Ryder
Yeah.
Yeah.
go.
hooked it up.
Let's freaking go.
So Jazz or Chris, if y'all want to grab one of the Black Rifles in the fridge, it's in
Oh,
there.
it's in the
and
fridge?
It's cold. It's
Yeah,
cold.
it's cold. There you go.
Do this.
Nice.
Huh?
If one of y'all could grab one for Isaiah, really
Which-
appreciate it.
Your
Which
sweat-
flavor?
Ready in a
your
break.
shirt's
Rich
gonna be
Mocha.
like-
Oh,
No,
let's
the
go.
Rich
for the rest of the
Mocha
episode.
I'm ready to
Rich
get more.
Mocha?
I'm just thinking about
Yeah.
it.
It's going to be
Yeah,
your
that's
shirt.
the one that I was telling you about the other day.
Chest.
Let's get to news and
Cowboy.
notes. There's a couple of different things going on here with the Cowboys. News and notes.
Yeah. All right. So, as expected, Jake Ferguson is "quote unquote" hard pressed to play this Sunday against the Washington Commanders. He is in concussion protocol. There goes Beamer with the.
Oh, shoot. Rich Mocha.
There goes Beamer with the Nino
Thank you, sir.
Brown.
Please don't get
Delivering like Nino
It's getting
Brown in
chugged.
this thing.
Top of the second break.
So yeah, Jake Ferguson, you can probably go ahead and rule him out, which is not unsurprising. Unfortunately, that's another major blow to a Cowboys offense that is already struggling, scratching, and clawing just to have any type of production whatsoever.
And you would have had this news had you listened to Talking Cowboys yesterday.
That is absolutely accurate.
We told you the deal.
We did tell you.
This ain't no
told
surprise to Talking Cowboys
We
listeners.
told
No,
you.
it's not.
Ain't no half stepping. All right. So as far as offensive linemen go, Mike McCarthy said that Cowboys are still evaluating players like Tyler Smith, Tyler Guyton, and Zach Martin, who are dealing with ankle, shoulder, and ankle respectively. Zach Martin is now dealing with 2 injured ankles and a shoulder issue that he entered last week's game dealing with. So these are my words. I think Zach Martin is hard pressed to get back on the field this week. It's a short week. Hopefully, we've not seen the last of Zach Martin, but TBD on that, as well as Tyler Smith and Tyler Guyton. Positive news on the injury front. Mike McCarthy did say that he's hoping for some reinforcements to be on the way. That could come by way of Brandon Cooks, Marshawn Nealand, and the headliner, DaRon Bland. DaRon Bland, I hear, has a really good shot at returning to practice this week. That would be as early as today. Cowboys will not have open media portion for today's practice, but they will have practice today. We'll have to wait for the injury report to see if DaRon Bland participated, also to see if the Cowboys opened the practice window for Brandon Cooks, which they could have done 2 weeks ago, or Marshawn Nealon, which they could have also done 2 weeks ago. DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm told, is still far away, so don't anticipate him having a shot to come back this week, or not even next week, really. Marquise Bell, the cloud gets darker and darker. We're waiting for a final prognosis, but for all intents and purposes, the air around his shoulder injury is that he might be done for the season. Bones Fossil got very emotional yesterday talking about what Marquise brings to the special teams unit. And if you go back and you look at the injury when it happened, I'm not joking when I say it, I'm surprised that his shoulder, his arm was still attached to his body. Yeah. Like, that was a brutal sequence of events for Marquise. So heal up, Marquise Bell. If he's unable to return in 2024, a bright 2025 in front of him, hopefully with more defensive snaps going forward. And that's what we got as far as the injury front. Jordan Lewis and Hunter Luepke, also keep an eye on them. They both missed this past game with a neck and calf injury, respectively, but told neither of those are major, but we'll see if they can bounce back. Not only is this a short week, though, but keep this in mind. It's an even shorter week next week.
Go from a short week to the shorter week.
So you got to keep that in mind, because McCarthy kind of intimated. Yeah, McCarthy kind of intimated this a little bit. So what he's basically saying is you're going into a short week, but then you have only a game only 4 days thereafter. So if you bring a guy back,
who schedules this? Hey, we're gonna give you guys 6 days, and then we're gonna turn around and give you guys 4 days.
Yeah, how about that?
So anybody he brings back,
guys.
Players first.
Safety
2 divisional games. By the way.
Safety first, Isaiah. So any one of those names that returns from IR potentially, they're kind of going to be up against it if it's this weekend, because they have 2 games in 4 days. So do the Cowboys allow that, or do they say, you know what, let's just wait until Thanksgiving for, maybe a guy like Brandon Cooks or whatever. So all of that's on the table for discussion this week.
Which one do you feel like is more likely to return?
DaRon Bland.
Bland?
I do feel
even
like
without going to practice?
I think if I had to, I think he might practice today. DaRon is a difficult situation to predict, because you'll have these conversations.
Last time.
Right. You'll have these conversations, and the feedback is that, he's getting close, and, he's almost there. So the conversations I had, coming out of Monday's game was that, well, yeah, this week looks good for him. Okay, well, unfortunately, between me having that conversation Monday evening and them going onto the practice field Wednesday, who knows? He could have stepped off one of the stairs incorrectly and had another setback. I no clue.
Not the Home Alone stairs.
I no clue. So, but
I'm not afraid anymore.
But gun to my head, if I had to pick one from offense, one from defense, I think offensively, obviously, I think Brandon Cooks is more than ready. He just needs to get medically cleared, and I think Bland or Nealon.
I'd be really interested in what returning Brandon Cooks would do to the wide receiver room, and as far as activations, because last week was really interesting what they decided to go with, who they decided to go with, and who they decided to make inactive. I don't know, who would be your starting 4 in that, just personally?
It would be, for me, Lamb, Cooks, Tolbert, reluctantly. And then probably Mingo would be there. Or no, Turpin. Duh.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Turpin. So then Mingo would probably be that 5th rotational guy. I know Flanoy was out there on the opening drive last week. What?
Yeah, Flanoy started.
Who else are you throwing out there?
I'm going CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Kevontae Turpin, and Mingo.
Okay. I'm okay with that. That's fine.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
I don't think it's a crazy upgrade on what you've already had.
I'm perfectly fine with what I just stated.
I think Brandon Cooks is a big upgrade over what you currently have. I mean, huge. Ginormous.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys know I'm in full evaluation mode. So number one, I'm putting Cooks back out there. So for me, it's CeeDee Lamb, it's Brandon Cooks, and then obviously Turbo Terp. Okay.
Turby speed?
No.
Is that how you mean?
No.
Were people in your comments?
No. But then I'm fine with, I want to see more from Flanoy. I think that they've seen enough for right now for Jalen Brooks, which is why he was inactive for Flanoy and Mingo. But you just gave up a 4th-round pick for Mingo. So
you got to see what you got.
On the field right now.
You got to see it now.
So if you had to choose between Mingo or Tolbert, who you going with?
Mingo.
As far as this weekend?
If you had to carry 4, right? You're going to carry 5 most likely, but if you had to carry 4.
If I can only carry 4, which I can carry 5, but if I can only carry 4 into Sunday, I'm taking Mingo. I just gave up a 4th round for that guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I could see that. You spent the 3rd round on Tolbert a couple years ago, but you've kind of been there, done that, seen it. You're done with it.
You have a good bit of data on him. You have nothing on Mingo. You have 4 targets, no catches for no yards.
He was open.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He was. Point being, you need him out there more with more targets and see what you got.
Which one's more likely to be here next year, Mingo, Tolbert, or Flanoy? Because that's what I think so too.
Of course,
absolutely. I would say it's Mingo.
2.5 years of control.
Yeah, give him the reps. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I could see that. But it's going to be tough either way. It's not like this is a crazy deep wide receiver core that you just feel gung ho about.
It's evaluation time.
Yeah, evaluate.
Except for the quarterback position. McCarthy said yesterday he made it official. Cooper Rush will indeed be the starter again against the Washington Commanders. Like I said yesterday, I need to find a new table, maybe a taller table.
No,
they're not
Jerry Jones said this afterwards. He said
at first he was non-committal.
No, but when he was walking off, they asked him again, and he said,
I was in that walk.
He said Cooper Rush gives us our best chance. That was straight up. He didn't make any questions about it.
In front of the cameras, and then he kind of was committed.
No, this was on camera too.
Yeah, it was in the post game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the one thing that I say, like, you don't need to stand on a higher table because I think you're starting to make some leeway here. Because the fact that he's even having to announce that Cooper Rush is the starting quarterback from week to week means that it was a conversation.
Say it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
That's what I'm saying. So
you're saying there's a lance.
Yes. Put it on the shirt.
Is that the title today?
Yes.
Yeah. Lance a lot. I want to see Lance a lot.
No,
I don't know about that one.
So you're saying there's a Lance? That's the one.
Give it a shot.
Valiant effort.
So dismissive.
All right,
Lance the Boyle.
Let's go into our first break because I want to come back and preview this defensive matchup up against the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels on the offensive side of the football. And I want to give enough time for Lab Coat at the end of the episode as well. Do not go anywhere.
I love Lab Coat.
More Talking Cowboys coming up right after this. If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas. in the SWBC studios.
That's good.
That's a fresh, rich mocha Black Rifle Espresso, 300 milligram triple shot, 100% natural caffeine and focus.
Kill switch engaged because we got that Black Rifle coffee on deck, baby.
Isaiah, by the end of this show, is going to be off the wall.
Tantalize the taste buds.
I'm telling you, you're going to see his heart jumping through his sweatshirt in about 5 minutes.
That's what that natural caffeine
Omarion Icebox, baby.
Yeah.
That's what the gray sweatshirt will do for you.
To be.
Nice outline, baby.
This segment is brought to you by Quaker Oats, the official oatmeal sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Quaker Oats, trusted since 1877. Buy your Quaker code and do what?
Buy your oats on the internet using the QR code in the corner.
Bang.
Sick.
Phenomenal. You looking over at it?
Yeah, the point was off camera.
It's that way, too.
Oh,
it's still that way.
I thought you wanted to go. I thought you wanted to go to the people.
He did it the right way.
I thought you wanted to go to the people.
No, I'm pointing at the code.
No.
The QR code. The Quaker code.
Quaker code. All right, defensive preview today. Cowboys taking on the Commanders Sunday at noon. We've got a fun matchup, quote-unquote fun, for the defense this time around.
Fun for somebody.
It's another mobile quarterback is what Dallas is getting ready to see. Jaden Daniels? You don't think he's a mobile quarterback?
Not since his rib injury.
Way to put it on Front Street, Isaiah.
Either way, they do run the football effectively. They've got a balanced attack overall. What do you think they do best on the offensive side of the football?
Options. Lots and lots of options on every play.
What's that like?
That means that you can't fully commit to yeah, exactly. You can't fully commit to anything.
Yeah.
They run a screenplay on every play.
Mm-hmm. Cliff Kingsbury, offensive coordinator.
Literally. And what does that do for your offense? Well,
balanced.
Their offensive line, honestly, their offensive line does a good job in pass block. Mm-hmm. They're not the most dominant run blockers. Mm-hmm. So running.
See, and that scares the heck out of me because they're still 6th in the NFL in terms of rushing yards per game.
But to my point, the reason why they're 6th in the NFL in terms of rushing is because of the scheme and less about the blocking. These guys will run swing screens, meaning that they'll like to get Eckler out to the sideline. And when they put him out to the sideline, they also have a tight end and they'll have receivers going out. And they'll be prepared to run that screen if you don't guard it. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you choose to ignore that aspect of the play and just commit fully to the run, they're going to outflank you with the swing screen.
Houston did that a couple times, and Dallas did a nice job of getting outside the tackles and defending it pretty well. So it was in between the tackles where they had some problems.
Okay, so good talk. So if you get outside the tackles, sorry, keep hitting your computer. If they get outside the tackles to go defend the screen, then the box is now what?
I got to defend my screen.
The box is light.
Yeah.
Right, so that's how they get these. Yeah, I saw what you did. So that's. I thought you were gonna get my turkey. That's how they get these running lanes. Right, you can't fully commit. You're either going to have to run to the sideline and guard the screen, or you have to stay in the box and get outflanked. One of the two. Yeah. Right, so that's what they're doing. Where it confuses you, it makes you kind of play in no man's land. It's kind of like when we talk about in the past when Micah Parsons played at the second level. You remember that idea when he was talking about putting him at the second level? Yeah. Anyways, when Micah Parsons plays at the second level, you're taking a dominant player and you're putting him in a fish out of water. Right? He looked lost. He looked uncertain. He looked like he was unsure of what he wanted to do and what to commit to. That's the position that this offense puts all your second level guys in. Yeah. That's the challenge for these guys because they run that seemingly on almost every play. There's going to be a handful of plays where they obviously come downhill and it's just running in your face or it's passing your face. But a lot of times they like to give themselves options, especially on those first and second downs.
Non-committal, like a Leonardo DiCaprio NDA, right? You know what I mean? Like,
my.
Yeah.
There's some other NDAs there. Never mind. Go ahead.
Stop. 15th in passing, 218 yards per game, 148 yards on the ground. That's 6th in the NFL. They're 6th overall in terms of total yardage, and they're 4th in scoring. So 6th in yardage, 4th in scoring at 28 points per game. And like you said, it hasn't been the same since the rib injury. How much has that hindered what Jaden Daniels does?
I think he's getting – okay, one thing about Jaden Daniels, obviously he's very conservative with the football. He's not going to throw it into double coverages or anything like that.
Which is one thing that during his time in college at LSU, he got better and better at throughout his career. At Arizona State, he would turn the ball over. He was very bad decision-making wise.
Right.
Had the athleticism, had the talent, arm talent, all that. Then
Arm
he went to
strength,
LSU.
Yeah.
Figured it out. He honed it all in, and then that's why he was a top pick.
You love to see that. You love to see a player that is constantly progressing and constantly improving on their weaknesses, right? And obviously, when we talked about, it was just a few weeks into the season, he had the best QBR in the league as a rookie. That's come down, obviously, since the rib injury. But now what I noticed, more so in the Philly game, more so than any other, it was the zone defense that really killed Jaden Daniels last week. The fact that they were just taking away Scary Terry and the deep ball completely and making him play under, that's where Jaden Daniels was struggling. He wasn't going to open receivers that were underneath because he was looking for the big play. I think, if anything, that was not necessarily a blueprint, but a type of blueprint that you could see for the Cowboys going forward, because if you do play in those zone defenses, there's a chance to take away that element of Jaden Daniels' game. I think the big idea is that he does want to get those chunk yardages, but he's also indecisive and he doesn't want to make those throws unless they are open, you know?
Okay, sidebar really quickly. Bit of breaking news, I suppose, related to what we're talking about as far as whose 21-day window might be activated. So the Cowboys, and I just got a text, that's why I was looking at my phone and writing and typing and getting the news out. So Marshawn Nealon and Brandon Cooks both have been designated to return to practice effective today.
Nice.
So their 21-day practice windows begin today. Gives them at least a solid chance of getting on the field against the Washington Commanders. But keep in mind, it's a 4-day window after this short week. So if they don't get on the field against the Commanders, might have a better chance of getting on the field at Thanksgiving. So and keep in mind, DeRon Bland is already on the active 53-man roster. But Marshawn Nealon, Brandon Cooks, back at practice today.
When's the last time we had a sidebar breaking news conversation that was good news?
Yeah. No, I like that. It's good.
This is positive. This is good.
It's good. So now, my take on the Commanders' offense. So we already know, like you guys said so eloquently, Jaden Daniels, he gives them the option and the read option, and that's going to keep your linebackers and secondary kind of guessing all game. What also helps them and hurts you is the fact that Austin Eckler, as a receiver out of the backfield, looks very much like the Los Angeles Chargers version of Austin Eckler. He's operating at a peak level as far as the receiver out of the backfield. 344 yards. I think he's their third, almost fourth leading receiver. So linebackers in Dallas, get ready to work. Eric Kendricks, DeMarvion Overshown, Maris Leofau, Damone Clark, if he's active this week, get ready to work, get ready to attack horizontally, play sideline to sideline, much more than you're going to play downhill like you talked about. They like to play sideline to sideline. So they're going to try to stretch you left to right. So that's going to be an aspect of their game. But then they'll use that to kind of set you up, because Scary Terry is absolutely going to go deep sooner or later.
He's balling.
Right. And they will make you not forget about him, but forget about him, if that makes sense. They'll make you kind of forget he's going back. And as soon as you forget, it's going over the top. It's a chunk play, and it might be a touchdown on the end of that chunk play. So while we're talking about, rightfully so, Jaden Daniels and his dual quarterback nature, and Brian Robinson, how he can hammer at you. But Austin Eckler, he's kind of the maverick of this whole setup. So you'll talk about Brian Robinson, you'll talk about Jaden, you'll talk about Terry, but what gets lost a lot of times is what Eckler does for Cliff Kingsbury and how he keeps you guys playing sideline to sideline.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go for it.
I was going to say, I like that you brought up Scary Terry in that he's having an arguably better season than CeeDee Lamb. And a lot of people have forgotten about Scary Terry.
Is it arguable?
I mean,
it's not. And
the numbers are close.
Which
all right,
is not a knock to CD.
Not at all.
But look at what CD's quarterback situation and the offenses.
That's fair.
They've been moving well.
That's fair. But on 67 receptions, CD has 774 yards. On 48 receptions, Scary Terry has 721 yards. And 6 touchdowns, 2 more than CeeDee Lamb.
So more efficient.
So it's not arguable.
It's not arguable.
Yeah.
I had to say that because I like CD more.
That's the honesty for me. Now, when I said it's not arguable, I wasn't saying that it's not close. It's just that Terry is literally having a better season.
More efficient season for sure. Yeah. And the consistency at quarterback obviously is a huge deal.
Now, it has changed a little bit.
And he's not the only weapon that they have. Sorry, go ahead.
It's changed a little bit, Isaiah, over the last 2 games, right? I mean, Jaden Daniels gets banged up. Was it in the middle of the Pittsburgh game, or was it the game before against Chicago? It's one of the two.
I think it was
Chicago. But 2 games after the rib injury, he has seen a significant drop off in a couple of different areas. The offense has kind of seen that dip as well. First 9 games, they were 7-2. They've played Pittsburgh and Philadelphia since then. They've gone 0-2 in each of those games. They're coming in on a 2-game skid. But then points per game is 7 less over those last 2 games than it was in the first 9 games. Total yardage goes from 392 to 253. That's bottom 10 in the NFL since week 10. And the rushing yards per game has almost been chopped in half, or actually more so than chopped in half. So it hasn't been as effective when you take the rushing element out of the game for Jaden Daniels. But that was also against the Steelers defense. That's one of the top defenses in football. And the Eagles defense, that's one of the top defenses in football as well.
Yeah, you also have to remember that Brian Robinson Jr. was injured for a minute there as well. Right, so
did he miss both games or just one?
I think he missed 2 games, right? I know he missed 2 weeks. When was their bye? They just have their bye?
They haven't had their bye.
Okay, so yeah, he missed 2 weeks.
Did he miss Pittsburgh and Philly though? Those are the
No,
two
he came
games
back in Philly. He came back for the Philly game. That was his first game back.
So he was only missing for the Pittsburgh game, where they were held. They had 27 points, and last week they had 18 points.
Yeah, I mean, but trying to insert him back in there after Eckler's been effective as well, right?
Yeah.
So now you're trying to find a way to get both of those guys active in the offense instead of it being a B. Robinson Jr. stable and then sprinkling in Eckler whenever Brian Robinson needs a breather. You put Eckler in there, he was successful. Now, as an offensive coordinator, you're like, okay, now I got to find a way to get both of these guys in the system and be effective, right? So now you're trying to work that element back in.
It's a hell of a problem to have.
It's a great problem to have. But again, they played.
I miss having that problem.
But
what's that like?
Zeke or Pollard, who needs more touches?
But they played to their strengths. And that's the thing. And they don't have a problem putting both of those guys in the game at the same time either. So when you play to your guys' strengths, they utilize Eckler the way in which you would like to see Dallas utilize Deuce Vaughn.
Well said. Well said. And the Cowboys, going into the game against the Texans, they had started to kind of shore up the run defense a little bit, right? But one of the things that I said as an asterisk was that halfbacks who can also catch out of the backfield, like what Bijan did against them, can be troublesome. Joe Mixon, he kind of exercised that as well. He did some damage on the ground as well. Talk about the 45, 44-yard rushing attack. But
109 yards total.
Yeah, he had over 100 yards from scrimmage before, I think, the 11-minute mark in the second quarter. Things don't get easier.
Finished with 3 tutties?
Yeah, 3 tutties, hat trick. Shouts out to the Dallas Stars. Things don't get easier for the Cowboys' run defense with this 2-headed attack. Like Isaiah said, it's a problem that the Washington Commanders love to have. They have 2 guys they can attack you with in the backfield. 3, actually, if you add the quarterback in. So you're up for another big test, another big task, and see what you can do with that.
What other elements of their offense worry you? Offensive line, tight ends, wide receivers, anything specific?
I think tight ends, when you look at Zach Ertz, he had a great game in Philly. Obviously, he's playing a team that he was once on. You're going to be a little more amped for that one. But he still has some athleticism.
But he's going to be amped because he likes playing up for the Cowboys.
Exactly that, too. And he still has some athletic ability, obviously. If you didn't see the 2-point conversion last week to get the Washington Commanders back in the game, please check that out.
Against his former team.
Against his former team. Check that out. That is one of the most athletic plays I've ever seen from an aging tight end, but he's still got some juice. John Bates as well on the tight end group. Noah Brown is having a decent season as well.
Who?
Noah Brown, former Dallas Cowboy Noah Brown. Having a decent season, but again, playing up to the Cowboys, right? Playing up to a former team. You're going to see a lot of that. Tyler Biadasz, same thing. I mean, granted, he was what he was with the Cowboys, but he may be a little more amped up coming into this week.
All-time versus Dallas. I was just curious on this. Zach Ertz, 116 targets, 79 receptions, 741 yards, and 5 touchdowns all-time against the Cowboys. Those numbers pretty much all are second to only Washington as the other team in the NFC East that he had some success against.
What a coinky-dink.
Yeah, but however, he was only 8-10 with the Eagles against the Cowboys all-time.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting, too. But yeah,
but a grudge match nonetheless. There's a lot of familiar faces on that side of the ball.
In your film study, yeah, on both sides of the ball. In your film study, Tyler Biadasz, how has he been playing? Has he been decent up front?
He's been decent. I think he's not as undisciplined as he was for the Cowboys. I think he's improved.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I think he's improved. And again, what we talked about before with Tyler Biadasz was his body type, body size, short arms, all of that. Granted, you still get that in Cooper Beebe, but I think he's been a little more disciplined this year, personally.
Yeah, I don't think this, to that point, Biadasz has been solid, and I don't think that this Commanders offensive line is entering this game performing as poorly as, say, the Houston Texans offensive line was.
Definitely not. No.
So it's going to be that much more of a
You
challenge.
only had one sack of C.J. Stroud.
So it's going to be that much more of a challenge, especially and if Jaden Daniels does get back to being comfortable running the ball and risking his ribs and whatnot, it's more of a daunting situation than what you just faced against the Houston Texans. And, eventually it gave way in the fourth quarter. The defense, they were solid for the most part, but again, and we'll get into this in lab coat, when your offense is not producing and constantly leaving the field quickly, you get gassed. And when you get gassed, you eventually start getting gashed.
Don't you worry, Commanders. We'll cure what ails you.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny you say that because yesterday something popped in my head as I was watching a couple of Cowboys games on film, the one from this Sunday and a couple of other games. And I know fans are like, why would you do that to yourself? Because I get paid to. But what kept popping in my head is that, and this is a depressing statement, but in 2024, at this point, the Cowboys are a get-right game for teams.
Yeah.
Teams are using the Cowboys to get right. Like, whatever you might have going wrong for you, don't worry about it. If the Cowboys are coming up, we're going to use it to get
Fix
right.
it, Felix?
Yeah, fix it, Felix. Right? So,
I'm going to fix it. Welcome to the Cowboys.
Yeah, so
Cowboys medicine cabinet.
Yeah. And honestly,
bad running game, play the Cowboys.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever ails you.
Turning the football over, go ahead and play Dallas.
And as soon as that thought popped in my head,
kept giving up sacks.
The follow-up thought was, that's what CeeDee Lamb was referring to. When CeeDee Lamb said teams like to come in and try to beat up on the Cowboys pretty good. It's kind of the same thought process where it's just like until you start playing better football, I'm not even going to say good football, but better football, teams are going to look at whatever they're not doing right, and they're going to use you to tune that thing up so that they can be good after they leave you.
They're tuning the band?
Man.
And we're taking the sweet chin music.
Yeah, and that'll be the case in Landover on Sunday as well. Yeah, that was crafty. I just saw a
Shawn Michaels Heartbreak Kid
on NFL Network
to
on our left screen. There was a FedEx commercial. Do you guys realize it's not FedEx Field anymore?
What is it?
It's Northwest Stadium.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's Northwest. I didn't like it when it was FedEx
before.
Field.
Didn't like it before,
but it's Northwest Stadium now. That is where the Cowboys are playing the Commanders this weekend. Northwest Stadium.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, is FedEx Field or Northwest Field one of your favorite places to visit?
It's awful, man.
Beam, is he there?
He needs some Black Rifle coffee.
Never mind.
Beam, crack open one of those cans, Beam.
Let's see if
I have to turn down like 3 things to talk to you.
That's true.
And you know that.
Usually you're like Speedy Quick, though.
Speedy. It's not the best stadium in the league.
Is it the worst stadium in the league?
It's close to it now.
Yeah?
There's a couple that got.
Was the Coliseum worse?
Oh, my God. And you mean in Oakland?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Back in
that
the day.
place is different.
Mm-hmm. Different. Which one's worse than Northwest Stadium? Almost said FedEx Field again.
We've only been to Jacksonville like
Jacksonville
once
is
in the
down
last
there.
like 12 years because we played them in Europe.
They've done a lot of upgrades, though. I wonder if they've touched
they're
the
about
locker
to tear
rooms.
that thing.
Yeah, but they're about to upgrade it completely.
Yeah, they're about to
just,
redo the
They're
whole
about
thing.
to redo the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to spend money.
No, which is why they're going to redo the whole
Shad
thing.
Khan just put the doggone swimming pool and the doggone TV out there.
Is it redoing or is it a
you want to talk
brand
about
new
an owner that
stadium?
drops the bread?
I think you're redoing it.
He put the swimming pool in a TV?
That mock looked like a brand
He turned
new
the whole outer bringing a stadium into a swimming pool.
He just sounds like a 50-year-old dad improving his backyard.
Pool and a TV. What do you want from me? Beamer doesn't want to talk about pools and backyards right now. Inside joke.
What's your just since we're on this like little side tangent? What's your favorite stadium in the league?
My favorite stadium,
aside from AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, aside from favorite road stadium in the league.
I already know my answer.
What is
from like an accessibility
in
standpoint?
general? Like when you see it on the schedule, you're happy to go.
U.S. Bank
You're happy
Stadium.
to go to it.
Yes, in Carolina.
That's yours?
No, Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota's
I was
really
about to
good.
say, Carolina.
Yeah, no,
Carolina was a really good city to go to
I love
because
Charlotte. Yeah.
we could walk to the stadium where we stay. That was kind of
Minnesota.
nice.
It literally snows in the stadium.
I'm telling
That is
you,
the
it's
coolest
the
thing
whole
ever.
aura. They go full
yeah, it's
Nordic
pretty
vibe.
cool.
It
And they have
is
the Dark
Minnesota.
Knight horn.
and the open press box, so you can
Come on, man.
yeah. And then Mercedes
Kidding me?
Benz went to number 3 for me because Mercedes Benz
good
was there. That was like
Wait, what was number 2?
U.S. Bank in Minnesota.
What's number 1?
Well, you know,
AT&T,
it's AT&T.
bro. Come on.
We just said
favorite
without
road
AT&T.
stadium.
Oh, Road Stadium.
Well, then,
so then
Minnesota's
one and
number
two,
one.
Atlanta.
Atlanta's number
Minnesota.
2. He's kind of biased because he's from Atlanta. So
It's not that I'm biased.
ATL's
Come
got
on,
a good
bro.
stadium.
It doesn't
though.
hurt.
It's a great stadium.
does
All right.
not hurt.
It doesn't hurt, but they have the open air press box, which everyone who knows me knows I love the open air press box.
I'm a
It's
fan of that
so
as
like
well.
Allegiant has open
Oh,
air.
Allegiant, yeah.
Right? So Allegiant is number 3 as far as road stadiums are concerned.
So
The only stadium I don't like the open air press box in is SoFi. Because it is
I'm so
humid
not a
as
fan
heck.
of. I think SoFi is so midi.
Yeah.
It's overhyped.
we did a
As
thing
in
on Hanging with
humidity.
the Boys, which is
It's
another
humidity.
podcast.
Humidity. That's what it's got.
Yeah, they need to get their AC situation.
Yeah, it's all messed
We
up.
did something on Hanging with the Boys where we did the top stadium press box food, and that
okay.
was fun.
Which
So,
show was that on?
It's one at in
Never
the
heard that.
afternoon.
I've never heard that
So
show. All right. When we come
Never
back
heard of
here
her.
on Talking Cowboys, we've got a little bit of lab coat. Patrick, what we got today?
So we're going to talk about yesterday. I'm going to use that as a segue to today. We talked about how the offense's ineptitude is really dragging down a defense that is trying its best to improve. I'm going to show you a couple of numbers that tell you exactly how bottom of the barrel this offense has been, and this is why it's that much more daunting for your hope, Isaiah, to actually take hold.
We are selling hope when we come back here on Talking Cowboys right after this.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
They say champions are remembered, but legends are never forgotten. United Ag and Turf offers a winning lineup of John Deere equipment built to tackle any challenge on and off the field. Legendary John Deere tractors, combines, residential mowers, commercial mowers, compact construction equipment, Gator utility vehicles, and a full line of golf and sports turf equipment. United Ag and Turf, the official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com to find a location near you.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
And we're going to overtime.
Erica, how much have I spent on concessions?
For questions about their money, Dallas Cowboys fans can turn to Erica, the virtual financial assistant in the Bank of America mobile banking app. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/Erica by your side. Bank of America, official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Erica responses may vary. Digital tools featured require downloading the mobile banking app and may only be available on select mobile devices. Erica is a mobile feature only available in the English language. Your chat may be recorded and monitored for quality assurance. Message and data rates and additional terms may apply. Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talking Cowboys, this segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys, alongside Isaiah Stanback, Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans, and it's time now for Patrik No C. Walker and a little bit of lab coat.
Yes, science.
There it is. All right. So, Cowboys, needless to say, and I'll be Captain Obvious again, Cowboys are struggling. But the good news is that, right? It's shocking.
How far down does a lab coat go?
Like to your knees?
To your ankles. Actually, it could go to your
It
depends. It depends on what you're working.
It's confusion.
What are you doing? What you're working with? Why is it confusion?
I knew you were going there when I said that.
It goes down to your knees.
Knees, ankles. Which one is it?
You usually
Shins?
see the pant leg of the
See, those are three different answers.
No.
Which one is it, Mr. Lab Coat?
Ankles or knees.
Bro, it's your knees right here. I mean, look.
I don't know. His is baggy, I guess.
Mine is more trench.
I'm just.
If it's a
I
trench
proved my
coat,
point.
that
There's
goes down to your
confusion amongst the
ankles.
lab coats.
You know where there's not confusion with?
Where's that?
How bad the Cowboys offense is playing.
There might be confusion on offense, though.
There might be. There's a lot of confusion on offense.
Yeah, see?
There's plenty of that. All right. So one of the bigger things that the Cowboys are struggling with is time of possession. Why? Because they cannot extend drives. Now, pre-Dak Prescott's injury, they were at least extending drives and getting down the field. The crux of their failure was because they couldn't get into the end zone once they got into the red zone.
Oh, so
right?
no, so in the red zone, no end zone.
That was when Dak was on the field.
Got you.
Without Dak on the field,
no red
you're
zone.
not even getting into the red zone.
Oh,
you're not making it. It's just not. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. That's the theme going forward. So right now, if you want to know why the Cowboys, I'll get back to the TOP in a second. If you want to know why the Cowboys are now 6 games in the hole at home, they've now lost 6 straight going back to the January loss against Green Bay, and I think the Packers broke this team in some way at AT&T Stadium because can't get right at AT&T Stadium. And this is shouts out to ESPN statistics for this. The Cowboys have only had the lead at home over these past 6 games for a total of how many minutes? Would you like to guess? How many minutes out of a total of 6 games have the Cowboys?
I'm not going to make a guess because I've already seen it. Okay. So I'll let those who haven't seen it.
6 games.
6 total games.
6 games. TOP of lead.
Oh, what?
Leading. Like how many times?
How many minutes
have they been leading in those games?
Oh,
total.
None. You talking about collectively?
Collectively.
It's not 0.
It's not 0.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I give it maybe 12 minutes.
Okay.
5.
Okay, both of you guys. It must be Christmas is coming because you guys are generous. 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
Out of 6 full games.
2 collective
combined.
2 minutes and 15 seconds collectively out of 6 games.
That is not good, Bob.
24 quarters of football.
But they're winning the time of possession.
Do you know?
No.
Do you know which game they were leading in? It was all in one game, by the way.
Yeah.
And you know which game it
Which
was?
was
Would you like to play the guessing game there too? Because it's fun.
Seattle?
No.
Pittsburgh.
No. These are at home.
At
guys.
home.
Oh,
Sorry.
at home. At home.
Sorry.
Yeah. Out of the last 6 home games.
Probably a game that you got destroyed.
Well, do
we lead
last 6 home games?
Didn't lead Baltimore.
Nope.
Who was it?
Detroit.
Detroit.
It was the Detroit game.
Detroit?
Yeah,
that means the Cowboys have
game you got destroyed.
That means at home over the past 6 games, the Cowboys have been down on the scoreboard a total of 109 minutes and 2 seconds.
Spinal.
If you thought it was bad, you thought wrong because it's worse than bad. Now, that goes to why can they not get a lead? It's because they can't control the time of possession. It's because they cannot extend drives, especially with Dak Prescott not on the field. I went back and looked at the
keep
time.
giving up opening drive,
That is
touchdown
correct.
drives.
Also, the Cowboys but the Cowboys are currently 5th worst in the league in time of possession, not just at home, but in general. Home doesn't really matter. They are averaging under 28 minutes per game possessing the football. That means you're not able to run the ball, which goes to that a lot. You're struggling blocking, so your quarterback can't get plays down the field, so forth and so on. That's 5 whole football minutes worse than what they were last season when they went 12-5 and had one of the best offenses in the league. That is not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. You are 5 minutes worse in time of possession this year than you were last year or the year prior when you went 12 wins back to back to back. Until you flip time of possession or at least try to claw back into that -5 minutes a game, you're not going to stand a chance. And your defense is going to get, say it with me, gassed, and then they go from gassed to getting gashed, and that's how it goes.
Question.
Isaiah.
Yes, sir.
Really a statement. For those that don't really
You have to say Mr. Professor.
Mr. Trench Coat instead of
Trench Lab.
Because we just found out lab coats go to the bottom of the knees. Time of possession is a huge category, but you don't have to win it. The reason
you just have to control it.
The reason when it's acceptable to not win the time of possession game is when you're able to make splash plays.
Boom. Are they?
No.
No. Turpin gave him one of the only ones of the entire season.
That was an awesome play.
It was.
It was great.
50
We're not
yards
giving him
of
credit
yak.
for how high he's getting there.
So, for the people at home, very valid point that Mr. Trenchcoat is making right now.
That's Dr. Trenchcoat.
Dr. Trenchcoat.
Dr. Claw.
And
He's
it's
like a cat right here.
It is
So he
okay. 'Cause I know a lot of people are now going to be focusing in on the time of possession.
It's about controlling it.
It's
You don't
about
have to own it.
If you don't win that, you would like to swap the time of possession out, right?
Yeah.
I will give you
Time
the
of
opponent
possession.
time of possession if I can then in return replace it with splash plays.
We've seen that in the past with
Yes.
the Cowboys offense. I mean, the years where Kellen Moore was cooking and this offense was rolling in the right direction. Last year, as Mike McCarthy's first year as play caller, they were doing that, and they weren't dominating time of possession, but they were working their way down the field on quick drives, quick plays, and they were able to score at a high level. When you haven't scored but one touchdown since week 3 at home, and only one touchdown since Dak Prescott left due to injury in the Atlanta game, you're not having splash plays. It's not there.
Isaiah.
Don't want to derail Mr. Trenchcoat.
Dr. Trenchcoat.
Dr. Trenchcoat, sorry. If there were 3 players on this offense that you would depend on to be your splash players, to be your big play splash players, who are those 3 guys?
Quanta Turpin.
Turpin's one.
Turpin,
CeeDee Lamb.
CD. Who's your third?
Do you have one?
You have one.
Rico?
Jake.
You're thinking Deuce. That's who you're thinking.
Those are your 3 splash players.
And I can hear everyone at home right now yelling through their headphones saying, but Deuce hasn't done it yet.
Neither had Turpin.
Correct. Because they hadn't utilized him in the right way. And you have the speed and the ability and the agility.
Yes.
And you haven't used it in the right way.
Look at you. We've been together too long.
Turpin, you showed it. Yards after the catch, he's got it. Deuce Vaughn has the same thing. Maybe not the same outspeed and the 22 miles per hour. You don't have that with
Put
Vaughn.
him out there and you have one guy that's responsible for him. That one guy's not bringing him down.
Get him in space.
So you have 3 guys, and there's more guys who can make plays, but I'm talking about guys that you're like, you know what? His traits, his characteristics, he's a big splash play player. You're utilizing one of them. And you're depending on that one guy to not only be your splash player, but you're also depending on him to move the chains for you every doggone set of downs. So CeeDee Lamb's the only guy that you're allowing to make splash plays for you right now. Turpin's being underutilized, as well as Deuce Vaughn severely being underutilized. You have to be creative, going back to our conversations yesterday, to allow these guys to be in position to make splash plays for you, which opens up your entire offense. What you got?
What is the reason? What is the reason? Why is Deuce not seeing the field? Why are they not scheming him open? Why are they not?
Listen, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, but I don't know what the reasons are.
That was a bar.
The reason that.
Well, now because you hit the high note earlier, now you got to go back.
That was a bar.
I don't know why. I love Earth, Wind, and Fire. I used to put that album on whenever my mom left the house. I would go behind the couch. I would grab the vinyl. I would put it on and try not to scratch her vinyl. Okay, I love Earth, Wind, and Fire, but the reason, I don't know. Because I love the abilities of Deuce Vaughn. If you're going to keep him on this roster,
which he is,
and if you're going to elevate him,
which he has been,
rotate him in and do the same plays as the other running back, hoping for different results. He's not a Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, you can run the same offense and get a different result because he's a vertical guy. He's a guy who can just outflank you with just pure speed. Deuce is twitchy. He has speed, but he's more twitchy than he is fast. Right? Turpin is more fast than he is twitchy. It just is what it is. So, yes, last week you put Turpin in the slot, and guess what? Get him over the second level, get him the ball in his hand right now before he gets to the next guy. You had the same thing when you got the ball to him 2 weeks ago. I'm assuming last week was the same exact play, a similar play that he had 2 weeks ago when he put the brakes on. It would have been the same result if he would have just kept running. So that's 2 weeks in a row that you got Turpin the ball doing what he does best, which is running fast across the formation, and guys that have to pick him up are going to be the safeties.
And they were splash plays.
Plays either way. Now, find a way to get Deuce involved. I'm just saying. Get him out there. Watch the film of Cliff Kingsbury and see how he's using Eckler in swing screens. Not even if he doesn't get the screen, it's the potential. It is the potential of getting him when you're like, crap, we don't want him with the ball in his hand with 2 guys in front of him blocking.
Get him in space. And science. And I'll bring that back to full circle to the lab coat, and I'll say this. Isaiah is 100% correct. It is more about controlling time of possession than it is owning time of possession. But you can't not do either of those two things without chunk plays, right? So in a situation where you don't own time of possession and you have no chunk plays, you know what you get? You get 47-9 against the Detroit Lions, a team that not only ran you off of your own field and almost dropped a 50-burger on you, but they had the ball for almost 35 minutes of that game. You had it for only 25. Yeah. You didn't have the chunk plays to offset the fact you were losing time of possession. So find a way to get right in some capacity. Otherwise, we haven't seen the bottom.
No. I wrote rock bottom on that thing a couple weeks ago, and I still think that's it for me for right now. I think that Philly game was rock bottom, and the scoop and score and the whole scenario there, or not scoop and score, but the fumble that was then kicked around by Terrence Steele, and it ended up being
that was rock bottom.
That was rock bottom.
And if we lose to the Giants on Thanksgiving, that is the people's elbow.
That might be curtains by that point. All right, that does it for us.
Still got the Panthers.
What? Here on Talking Cowboys. We'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll be back tomorrow.
Reasons.
We had a lot of high notes today.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, listen up.
Definitely.
Just one more.
I'm going to tell y'all right now, none of the other podcasts are going to give you guys as much information as we gave you guys today.
And we've got QB Vision tomorrow, too.
Right. Y'all go back and run this back.
On.
Put it on repeat.
One more high
Put
note.
it on repeat.
The reasons.
That's impressive. Chris Beam, Isaiah Stanback, Josh Rodriguez, Patrik Walker. I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long. We'll see you tomorrow with more Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!